The middle part of the line is the part that has most slack. Okay. This is actually my favorite part to get on because my standing leg on the ground does not have to jump as high, and I prefer that. The more movement you have, the more movement of the line. The more movement of a line, the less control you have. Okay, so with my slacklining leg, this is actually my dominant leg, by the way. My dominant leg is my right leg. I step down, as I'm stepping down, I start to get ready to release my standing leg so that I can get onto the line. Okay. What I do is I focus on the stationary point ahead. I take a look at the anchor that is straight ahead of me because that is stationary. If I look at the line, my balance may be thrown off because the line is constantly moving as long as somebody is on the line. Okay, that could be yourself, or it could be a really mean passerby who is shaking the line and trying to throw you off, which happens and isn't very nice. Okay, so you can see that I'm standing on one leg. You might wonder, why am I not putting my other leg on? The reason for that is the less weight you have on the line, the less it moves. The less it moves, the more control you have over it, okay? So I'll put my other leg on, but then it's gonna start throwing me off. You can see my hips are moving. And this is because I am missing my other leg to act as a balancing tool. I only have my two arms. So now that I release one leg, I've got my two arms and my right leg to act as balancing tools to counterbalance. All right, so let's see if there's anyone. Okay, ooh, all right. All right. Just going to have a breather. I considered slacklining with the phone in my hand, but my fingers are kind of buttery and I don't have a strap to put on my wrists. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll keep the phone in my pocket and answer questions as we go. Okay. And I'm gonna have a glass of water while I'm down here. Since I can't follow the chat live when I'm on the line, I have my Nightbot going to explain some techniques about slacklining. So, the first skill you learn is, I'm getting a bit of feedback. So I'm just going to fix that. There's a bit of feedback. Oh, just going to mute you. Okay. Make sure chat is on. Okay. Okay, so the first position is to start with your feet together and you put one foot on the line exactly parallel to your standing leg. So you've got your slacklining leg and your standing leg. And your slacklining leg, when you're a beginner, should be your dominant leg. So I'm right leg, this is my strong leg, so I'm going to start with that. I'm going to push down, and with my standing leg, I'm going to shoot it up so that I could be standing up. So I'll get my appendages to balance and just stand. Okay, like that. So you might wonder why I have only one leg and not two legs. It's because it's actually easier to balance when you have three appendages. You've got your two arms and your one leg to counterbalance, okay? So that's the first skill you learn, is how to stand on the line and how to stay on the line. The next skill you learn is how to stand with your weaker leg. So I'm right-legged, my left leg is weaker. I'm going to do the same thing, stand on the line. My feet are going to be parallel, except that one is higher, and I'm going to stand up. I'm going to be a bit more jigglier because this is my weaker leg. Okay. So I can stand on both legs separately. Now, the third move is to try to walk. So for a very long time, I had difficulty moving my other leg forward because every time you move, the line moves. And when the line moves, you have less control. So I found that challenging. The first time I learned to walk, I found that every time I balance, my free leg had to be further from my slacklining leg to help me balance. If I have it close like this, I would fall. So I had to keep my free leg out. And the way I started walking was like by taking big steps like that, because I couldn't keep my free leg close to my body. So it was just over time I developed the muscle memory and the skill to, start to inch a bit closer. And you can see I'm jiggling too. Yeah. So that's the slack line. And as I get closer to the anchor, you can see the anchor behind my head. It's homemade. It's made with two pieces of wood, and they help to keep the line up. The line is actually anchored to chain that has been cemented to the ground. So this is a setup that my father and I made. We used a fence pole digger. So when the contractors came over to install our fences, we had the contractors dig a 4-foot deep hole. Then we inserted chain. Guess it's the type of chain that doesn't rust because we're outdoors. And we put the chain in, then we poured concrete in there. And so that is our anchor to keep the line in place. And there's a lot of tension. When we set up the line, we had to crank the ratchet many times to get it nice and tight. As you can see, I'm bouncing. This means that there's slack, so hence the name slackline. So the tighter you make it, the more you resemble a tightrope. So the interesting thing is that people often think that a tightrope is easier to walk than a slack line. For me, I actually feel the opposite. I feel that I prefer a slack line because when you have the bounce, your body can counterbalance. Like my arms can, counterbalance. Whereas when you don't have any slack, when you have a straight tightrope, if you lose your balance, you just plop right off because you have no bounce. You have no bounce and you have no opportunity to correct your balance. So I like a bit of slack. But I don't like too much slack because too much slack means that I won't even stay on the line. So we all have our preferences and you just have to explore. So I mentioned that the center of the line is the most slack. See? It's pretty slack. Then I'll move over to the anchor. It's more stiff. It doesn't go down as far when I sit. So the sections of the slack line that are closest to the anchors are most stiff. So you're probably wondering, so what's the point of this? You might have seen the Nightbot come up. Well, I have a few Nightbots generating to explain the different things about slacklining, what it is, basic moves, advanced moves, and my dream. So I dreamed of being a gymnast when I was young, but by the time I reached adolescence, I didn't have skills to tumble, and I knew that my age was a factor. I wouldn't be able to have the flexibility to progress further, and I thought my dreams were shattered. But every time I saw lines on a parking lot, I would imagine that it's a balance beam and do cartwheels on it. And so when I learned about slacklining and I learned that the people who do it are adults, I was thrilled because I wasn't limited by my age, and I thought I could relive my dream. So all those times of practicing a cartwheel on parking lot lines, I could actually progress and pursue my dream in the form of a slackline. Okay, I'm just gonna check the chat, and then I'm gonna do some of the moves that I know how to do. I can't do every move, but I'm going to walk forward, walk backwards. I'm going to kneel, and I'm going to glide. What I don't do are the advanced moves. I don't turn or jump because those generate a lot of movement, and with movement, you can easily fall. All right. Okay. And it's really, really hot. And by the way, we are broadcasting to you live from Markham, Ontario, which is a city that is north of Toronto in Canada. Yes. So, and we celebrated our 150th birthday in Canada on Saturday. So today is a public holiday, the Monday after Canada's birthday. Oh, I'm so thirsty from all the talking. Okay, so I'm going to stand, balance on each leg, walk forward, walk backward, and do some gliding. Okay, get your balancing arms up. And I won't talk as much so that I could concentrate. Look at something that's not moving and just go up. tired. I'm gonna kneel. Getting tired. My arms are tired from keeping my balance. my throat's tired of talking too. Hi, it's Wagga. Okay, what I'll do is I'll try to move the camera around 6 meters from the house, so maybe the Wi-Fi connection isn't strong. So I will move it to as much as the wires allow. Yeah. Sorry about the choppiness, so I'll just move the wires. We have an extension cord for the plug and for the webcam. We don't have one for the mic. But I think the mic is able to adjust, so not too bad there. So there's no barbecue. This is actually a sports. Yeah, I wonder how you can how that looks. Let's see. So I moved it. Okay, you can see. Oh. I wonder if it's close enough. Let's see. Oh. I think I can go one more foot closer to the house. I guess I can move the Yeti closer to the house. It can pick up my sound, I think. So sorry, no barbecue. We actually don't have our barbecue set up. We're going to build a deck and build an outdoor kitchen counter with a gas connection run from the basement to the outdoors before we can install our barbecue. So today's not a cooking stream. Yeah. So how's it going, Itzwaga? And this is also a stream time I don't do Mondays. It's a public holiday in Canada. We had Canada's 150th birthday on Saturday, and today, the Monday after the holiday, is a public holiday. line. Yeah, but barbecue. Oh, what would we have for barbecue? So, over the Canada Day holiday, we have a roasted pig that went for around 6 hours. It was delicious. We had some pork crackling with it. Let me just fry it a little bit. We're eating it for element. That's why you don't see the legs that we normally have. It's too bad. We would prefer a little press and chill out. Just adjusting this. I'm taking a long break so that I can rest. It's been over a year since I slacklined. Yeah. Great. So okay, let's get back online. And I'll come back to chat after off the line. It's pretty tricky to read while I'm on the line. Okay. So I'm going to crank this tighter. Pretty tight. I'm getting a bit dizzy from the sunshine.